everybody, welcome. It's a special edition of Cook Live. It's our Let's Beat Breast Cancer Week 2, and today I'm joined by a very special friend and guest, Dionne Shaw Bush. She is a certified well, you know what? I'm going to let you tell everybody all about yourself in 1 second. You're going to love this Thriver sister. She's done so much good that she's done for herself and taken it and transformed it into an entire business and just a campaign for whole life fitness and plant-based eating. I can't wait for you to hear all about Dionne's journey and story and where she is now and how you can join her. So because today's about fitness, I was thinking about the food that I wanted to cook, and it's also Tuesday. So I decided to make it Taco Tuesday, and I'm going to build very high protein tacos that are so delicious. So I did some experimenting with the spices and made several different versions last night. I have my 3 teenage sons, my 2 carnivore brothers. I have a third brother, but he wasn't here. Andy, hubby, and myself. Okay, so hands down, the boys could not eat enough. I have 0 leftovers. And my brothers were like, wait, you're saying there's no cow in here? There's like no cow in this room. No cow, there's no cow. So I can't wait for you. You're gonna just see them and believe me that they're delicious, but I really want you to try to cook these at home because they're fast, they're easy. That's why I wanted to do it while we're multitasking, talking about so many things today to show you how quick and easy these taco recipes are. You can find them at pinklotus.com/kitchen. So don't forget, our usual Cook Lives are once a month, and the next one, the Cook Live with Dr. Kristi and Kristi, oh my gosh, don't tell her I said my name first. That's not how it goes. It's Cook Live with Kristi and Dr. Kristi. Oops. Anyway, it is November 19th. It's all about Thanksgiving, and I cannot wait. I've been waiting for 2 years to try to figure out how to work in my turkey so you can understand the highest protein, most delicious turkey are steak tacos. They are called Make No Mistake tacos, get it, are going to be made today with Beyond Steak. And I want to talk about Beyond and their new formulation, how delicious their foods are. They've really amped up how nutritious and good for you and kind of whole food, minimally processed their new fleet of offerings is. So I'm really excited to just chat about that a little bit. I have signed on as a medical liaison for them, so just a little disclaimer that I do kind of know them up close and personal, but I had loved their products for my sons, considered them more like special occasions for myself, I'm more like completely whole food and really watch fat, but now they are watching the fat, so more to follow. Now let's turn it over to Dionne Shaw Bush. Sister, tell me, how are you tonight? It is nighttime where you are. Thank you for joining us.
Yes. This is actually, I'm on the East Coast, and it is 8:03. So you're catching me with just mascara, and that is it. Maybe the lip gloss.
Oh, natural. Yes, we love you.
But yes, I am Dionne Shaw Bush, and do I have a story to share with you? And this is like really my second time ever sharing publicly. Normally it's in my little small groups that I would talk to, other thrivers, warriors, overcomers, but it's a pleasure. I thank you, Dr. Funk, for inviting me. And it's just a pleasure to tell my story. So what I did was I went into my little folder here, and because I had tucked this away. It's been 5 years. I had tucked it away, and I found my little notes of the day I got my phone call from my doctor. So here it is. I went in for a normal mammogram, like every year, annual, since age 39. I was just like, I am never missing. I'm going to get this done. Not that I had any concerns, but I knew it was something that women should do. So I went in. At first, they tried to tell me, women over 50, you can do like every other year. You don't have to do every year. And I'm so happy that I am an advocate for myself. And I try to tell other women that too. So I'm such an advocate. I was like, no, I'm not going to stop. Every year, put me in the books, right?
Right.
And
I
we
love
know
that.
after 2019 what happened, right? The world shut down. So I am just like, okay, so here's my little paper. I went in early May, got my mammogram, right? Got a call. We need you to come back because we saw something and we just want to rule out whatever. All right, so that was May 17th. I went back, right? Got the mammogram again, got an ultrasound, but this one doctor was like, based on what I saw, I think I better do a biopsy. And I was like, okay, do a biopsy. So they have in this large table, boob in the little opening, taking a biopsy. All
So
right.
what I can
So
tell what
then
you had was called a stereotactic biopsy. Does that ring a bell?
thank you.
Yes, for those who don't know, yes. It's a mammogram
Thank
guided
you.
biopsy when ultrasound doesn't show anything and when your own hands can't feel anything. So we've got to direct the needle by the thing that sees it, which in your case was a mammogram, which was oh so unpleasant because you're laying on the table with your breast through a hole with smashed between two plates. It's extremely uncomfortable for pretty much everybody and can go on for like an agonizing 45 minutes. But do go on. Tell us more.
No, thank you, because I don't know terms, and you're good. Thank you. This is your area, right? Okay, so then May 21st, they called me up. I am teaching a class. I come out, I said, and I call, I'm sitting in my car. Call the doctor back. I'm talking to the doctor. He goes, Miss Bush. And I was like, yes. He says, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm in my car. Like, okay, where are you going with this? And he's like, we have news. And I'm like, okay, what do you have? And he tells me, we have found cancer, breast cancer. And I'm like, okay, so what do we do now? And he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. So what do we do next? And he says, well, a nurse is going to call you and she'll give you everything that, we need for you to do so that we can take care of, find out what the best treatment is. I said, okay. So I am a woman of great faith. I am an optimist. So, and I say great faith because I looked up and I said, okay, Lord, you heard what the doctor just said. What do we do? And then I called my husband and I called the rest of my family. So on May 24th, I get a call, and let's just call her Colleen, right? I get a call from Nurse Colleen, and she says, and this is my little paper, so you can see I'm reading. I take notes. I'm just a big note taker, and I like to write dates. But she says on May 24th, 2019, we found invasive lobular carcinoma called ILC. And she said it's grade 2 and staging comes after surgery. And then she says, you're going to have to do an MRI. You're going to do another breast exam, She's going through everything that still needs to be done. Because they did a lot of biopsies. I had so many done. I was just like ready, and I'm being honest with you guys. I was like, just take them off because you're just poking and probing and digging and taking all this out. Just take them off. That's how I felt on the inside. I didn't say that, but that's how I felt on the inside. And then Tuesday morning, June 4th at 8:30 a.m., I go in second floor with my entourage, my mother, my 2 birth sisters, a sister that's been a sister of mine, for a very good friend, my husband, and everybody else is sitting out in the lobby because we want to hear what these doctors are going to say. So I'm going to leave it at that. That was 2019. So I'm going to leave it there. But you see me today, 2024. But yes, that is the story that, and I did opt, if we have time, Dr. Kristi Funk, I opted for a double mastectomy. So it was called let me get the term. It was called a double mastectomy, nipple sparing reconstructive surgery. Is that correct? I think that's what it's called. I didn't write that part down, but yes, that is what I had done. And they only found the cancer in one breast, but they would not give me, and you tell me what it's called, where they take the fat from my whatever body parts and put them in my breast.
Yeah.
They said, I'm like, not enough. Anyway, I opted for the double, and I did get, and I tell my story, I might as well tell, I did get the implants, and I really did not want the implants, but I'm okay with the decision because here I am 5 years later, and so
Looking vibrant and all put together. Yeah, so a couple of points there. You had an invasive lobular cancer. The most common subtype is ductal. 75% of breast cancers occur in the milk ducts. Yours was the second most common, about 20% start in lobules. One unique thing about lobulars, it can get really big before it's detected. It's very sneaky. The cells kind of line up in a linear way and then just one day break out, and there it is, this 3, 4, 6 centimeter mass that maybe even mammogram missed 6 months prior. That is a classic sneaky lobular story. The other thing about lobular that's different than ductal is the opposite breast has much elevated risk compared to ductal. So at the moment of diagnosis, if it's a ductal cancer, you've got a 3% chance of having it in the other breast. With lobular, it's a 30% chance. So your decision to opt for a bilateral or double mastectomy is a common one when mastectomy is chosen for the cancer side, to remove the other, not only for symmetry, to avoid future need for surveillance with mammograms, ultrasounds, MRIs, but also because you do have elevated opposite breast risk. So all really bold choices. The flap that they wouldn't give you, well, it's kind of, it seems attractive because it's like a free, air quotes, because there's copays, deductibles, and out-of-network doctors, and then it goes on and on. But it's kind of a free tummy tuck. It's the silver lining. As long as I'm going to lose the girls, I may as well lose this tummy that I've been working on for 30 years. But that surgery is no joke. It is one of my favorite reconstructive operations for the right candidate. But it's a big recovery, and it's a lot of pain. So maybe you dodged a bit of a bullet there. And as long as you're here and happy and you've got more about your journey and the transformation to tell us, I'm going to hit pause on Dion's amazing story to just focus for a second on our tacos. So I have my make no mistake steak taco recipe and my where's the beef beyond beef. And I want to highlight these two plant-based meats because they are excellent transition foods. They are excellent in terms of trying to get the carnivores in your life to be happy and join you on a plant-based mission. And Beyond has spent a lot of time in the last several years reformulating their foods to be more whole food ingredients, specifically to decrease the saturated fat content, because in no world do we need to be purposefully consuming more saturated fat, and decreasing the sodium content. So for example, this Beyond Steak, the very first ingredient is water. The second one is wheat gluten. Wheat gluten, as long as you're not celiac or gluten sensitive, which is not the majority of people, this is probably my very most favorite source of protein. This is the source of my Thanksgiving turkey, the recipe that I will share with you, we'll make it together with Kristi. Wheat gluten is remarkably versatile because it really just takes on the flavors of the spices. So it's all about the spices. It creates a very meaty, chewy texture, and I work with it from scratch. I get it in bulk, and it's like a flour. And it has, for 1/3 of a cooked cup, which is not much, 21 grams of protein. So this is an incredible, fantastic source of protein, and it is the second ingredient here. And in fact, this whole bag makes 3 tacos, according to them. I think we could probably get 5 out of it. But in one serving, which is 1/3 of the bag, you're going to get that full 21 grams of protein. The next ingredient in line here, faba beans. Then we have some expeller pressed canola oil. Interesting thing about oils, I go on about oils a lot because they are very inflammatory. Every single tablespoon is a pure 120 calories of fat. The question then becomes, what's the makeup of that fat in that tablespoon? If it's coconut oil, it's literally 90% saturated fat. Probably one of the worst fats that you can be consuming. On the flip side, one of the quote unquote healthiest fats is going to be extra virgin olive oil because it has the highest monounsaturated omega-3s. Right up there with it, which shocks everybody, but it's just facts, is expeller pressed canola oil. So that's the oil they've chosen here for their Beyond Steak, which I love. And then we do have a little salt, but it's 300 milligrams of sodium per serving. And it's not a huge source of fiber, but when you're looking at carbs, one of my little tricks is total carbs divided by fiber. As long as that number is 5 or less, this is particularly useful for bread choices, but if it's 5 or less, then it's a good source of carbohydrate because the fiber content is relatively high. So we've got 7 grams of carb and 2 fiber, which is obviously more like 3 and not 5. So anyway, here's all the Beyond Steak facts that I wanted to share. The Beyond Beef is the one that went through the biggest transformation. There's like a competitor version. It's impossible for me to remember what it's called. And it has 6 grams of saturated fat. This one only has 2. So they dramatically dropped their saturated fat content, and their sodium is like way down at 310. Again, 2 grams of fiber per serving. So the content of this one is very different than the steak, and so is the whole taste profile. So these make up wildly different tacos in the end. The first ingredient is water. The second one is pea protein. So again, we're not finding that the ingredients are like soy protein isolate, which I'm not necessarily against. It's not a dangerous source of protein, but the isoflavones that make the soybeans so powerful and anti-cancer inside of you, they're all gone. Once you get into soy protein, it's so extracted that they're gone. So it's not necessarily a bad source of protein, but it's certainly not like an anti-cancer effect. So I love that this is a pea protein source. It's not, and then some natural flavors. Avocado oil is the oil of choice here to get the saturated fat down. And then all words that we know, rice protein, lentil protein, potato starch, pea starch, and then faba bean protein, apple extract, pomegranate. Like it's really, I'm impressed by what they've done with their reformulation. I'm incredibly impressed with the taste profile. So we're gonna get a little bird's eye view of what I've got going on here, because this isn't entirely just the cooking show. So unlike what Kristi and I do, I pre-mixed all of the seasonings and I worked on these blends. I made a few different blends the other night, like I said, last night. Oh my gosh, obsessed. I've landed on it, people. So you definitely want to go to pinklotus.com/kitchen, check out the recipes, make these tacos tonight. So I'm just going to rattle off what is in my taco seasoning. So in here, for 1 package of the Beyond Beef, we got a tablespoon of smoked paprika and then of chili powder, 1/2 tablespoon of onion powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of coriander, allspice, that was the secret, a teaspoon of oregano, and then once I'm done cooking this with the spices, I'm gonna add half a cup of canned organic tomato sauce. This is just gonna give it that extra zing. So the way we start our Beyond Beef, where's the beef tacos, I called them, is with a small yellow onion and 3 cloves of garlic. I've already pre-chopped it all. I never saute with oil. You don't need to. You're never gonna miss the oil. If I give you 2 identical meals and one had 3 tablespoons of oil to begin to saute the onions and the beef that has the oil in it already, you will not know which is which. It adds nothing to it. So always water saute, broth saute. I like broth for just a little extra seasoning. So I'm gonna step back to the stove now, and I'm gonna start sauteing my onions and the garlic. This is gonna take like 3 or 4 minutes, get a little translucent. I'm gonna throw in the beef. We've got 4 to 7 minutes sauteing there. I'm gonna throw in the spices, tomato sauce, and then that puppy's gonna be done. Similarly, I'm gonna step back while Dion starts talking again with the Beyond Steak. This seasoning is so simple, and I can't even tell. My brothers, they really were like thinking they were gonna have to go out to dinner after they left my house for like more actual real food, and they were stuffed and they had more tacos than anyone. So in here is, again, for 1 package of the Beyond Steak plant-based seared tips. They are so like moist and delicious, and I can't wait for you to try these. It was a teaspoon of chili powder, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon onion powder, I'm a spice wimp, so I did not add red pepper flakes, but you could do that if you like heat. And I didn't. A little salt and black pepper to taste. So this one's really simple, but man, it makes these steak tips just pop. So delicious. So, Dion, you kind of left us in the waiting area. You came with your entourage, and everyone was there to support you. Tell us how the rest of that surgical journey unfolded.
Okay, so we scheduled surgery. After I went in, all the doctors came in. I met with an oncologist. I met with it was a male plastic surgeon the first time. So he came in, and then you correct me on the terms.
Okay.
Some of chemotherapy came in, and who else came in? Oh, the actual surgeon. She was very, very nice. I liked her as soon as I walked through the door. Her bedside manner was very, very pleasant. You know, I've been around some doctors and they're just like, boom, straight to it. I'm like, what are my feelings? But she was just she broke down everything. She wrote hold on, I'm going right through my little notes again. I'm visual. So, and I like all of the seeing, the hearing, the doing. I like all of it. So she did preparing for your breast surgery. So she told me what to expect. So she drew these little pictures. Like she gave me this little thing right here, right? So here's a little picture right here she gave me. Mm-hmm. So she said, here are your options here. Like if you do the lumpectomy, she said the lumpectomy, and she said she did something with the plus radiation, the plus/minus chemotherapy, and then the plus hormone therapy. And if I did the lumpectomy, she said there was a 10 to 15% breast margining re-exam or something. You can talk about this. I'm just reading it from the paper and you can explain more. Because I really didn't understand, but I was like, okay, doctor. And she said if you do the mastectomy, she said that really didn't need any radiation or chemotherapy, but you want to do the hormone therapy for 5 years is what she reviewed. And she said possible auxiliary lymph node dissection if lymph node positive. So if you can break that down, that's what she told me. And I was like, I've already made my mind up. You know, I listened to what she said. I said, I've already made my mind up with just taking the girls away. So, but I'm glad I did listen to what she said, but I had already made my decision.
Right. I think one of the take-home point with all of what she was trying to tell you is that we know very clearly that you have an identical survival and an identical recurrence rate locally in the breast tissue or after mastectomy under the skin or in the armpit nodes, identical if you choose lumpectomy with radiation versus mastectomy. So it's important, even if you come in pretty clear and focused on I want both girls gone, that you take a step back and hear very concisely and clearly that you are not adding 1 day to your lifespan by getting aggressive with mastectomies, because a lot of people erroneously believe they get, attack the cancer aggressively, give it all you got, get rid of all those breasts, that it's not going to come back. And in point of fact, ironically, it's just very counterintuitive, but all the studies show repeatedly, with rare exception, that they are identical choices. So she was hammering home that with invasive cancer, you need to take the anti-estrogen, whether you keep the breast or take the breast. The only thing you probably get out of doing is radiation if you take the breast, although there are people who still need radiation after mastectomy. And she just wanted to be really clear to you that those are distinct avenues of attack. So what's attacking the cancer and it not coming back right here is surgery and radiation. What's quote unquote attacking the systemic potential metastases that are flying around is chemo and anti-hormone therapy, and for other people, biologic targeted agents, very special drugs. So you don't do a mastectomy and get a chemo out of jail free card. You have to still consider chemo, because that's about the cells that are out there and not about right here. So anyway, sounds like she did a good job explaining, but you still went forward with mastectomy.
Yes, 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 yes. And when she pulled when she did the lymph nodes, they were not positive, no
Yay!
cancer anywhere else. So, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, after this diagnosis, and after the surgery, I got the surgery. That was May. I did not get the first part of the surgery until it was July 20. Let me say July 25th, 2 days before my husband's birthday. So July 25th, I got the surgery in and out, got it done, sent me home, sent me with all the prescriptions. I was like, wait a minute, I didn't stay overnight. She's like, no, you're done. You're gone. She did put the spacers in. The plastic surgeon came and put the spacers in and sent me home. I was like, okay. So went back I think the very next day, just checking everything. It for me, and this minute I'm only talking my story. I don't know about anybody else's story. But for me, it was a fairly, I'm not gonna say easy, but it wasn't complicated. So if that makes sense, the first procedure of removing the tissue, putting the spacers in,
Yeah, tissue
and then
expanders.
going back. I'm sorry.
They're called tissue expanders. Yeah. They're
Okay,
deflated.
so I'm
Yeah.
glad. Thank
So
you.
the spacers that Dion's talking about are called tissue expanders. After mastectomy, when we want the skin to kind of relax and have good blood flow and start healing, you don't want to smash the biggest implant that fits right in like 10 minutes after the mastectomy in most cases. It's called straight to implant or direct to implant if you go and you skip the spacers. The spacers are called tissue expanders. They're deflated implants that get gradually inflated with saline every week or two after a week or so of healing, and it allows the skin to then adjust to the size that you eventually want to be. Then you have to go in though for a whole nother procedure, expanders out, implant in. Oftentimes at that surgery, they do liposuction, liquefy the fat, and do a little fat grafting to smooth out the contour. And yeah, so
Yeah.
we're back at your tissue expanders and dealing with those.
Look, see, I'm so happy you can explain because to tell the terms for what they're called. So thank you.
Of course, anytime.
So July, that was July, and then all September. When was this? Let's see. Hold on. September. Yeah, I keep really, 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 really good notes. I kept everything. So let's see. September. Hold on, bear with me, giving you my story. So this was September, that's July, all the appointments. I keep going back for, visits, making sure that everything was fine. It was actually September.
Here, you find that out. I'm going to just quickly cut over here to my cooking so I can show everybody what we're doing.
Okay, yes, please. While I'm looking through here, yes, please.
So I just put in, I sauteed the onion and the garlic in my organic vegetable broth, and now I'm just chopping up this. So the versatility of the Beyond Beef is if you want to, pull this into 1/3 of a package or 1/4 of a package and flatten it out as a patty, it becomes your Beyond Burger. I'm going to just chop it up into little pieces because I want it to resemble beef crumbles for our tacos, right? So I'm just going to keep chopping it up into smaller pieces. Meanwhile, the Beyond Steak has been sauteing over there for a few minutes now, so we're ready to add the seasoning. And I'm going to put just a touch more broth there. Okay. And so we'll be doing this now on the beef for about 5 minutes, and I'll add some tomato sauce and the spices, and then we will be ready to assemble tacos. That's how quick it is, and I'll show you my favorite toppings. But okay, Dion, back to your story, please.
So I found it. So it's actually September the 9th is when I went in and had my procedure done. And after that, I think like a week or so, the 24th, did I go back? The 9th? This is another one. But anyway, I had it done, and I went in to meet with my oncologist, and here's the paper. I'm really sharing so much with everyone today. So this was which is the DX, the Oncotype DX breast recurrence score report.
Yep.
That's correct? Yes, yes, yes.
Yep.
And then it was node negative. This
Yep.
was, and it was okay, so she gave me this is their report. The recurrence score is 15.
Okay.
Then
So
it said distant reoccurrence, like risk at like 9 years, is 4%. And then it said group average absolute chemotherapy benefit was negative 1%. Right? So go away from it. It's the negative, right?
No, it was
52.
less than 1%. So
That's what I mean by the negative, so less than 1%.
Yes.
Yes.
So Oncotype DX is one of several genomic studies that we use in breast cancer to help a woman more objectively answer the question, do I need chemo or not? Nobody wants chemo, but no one wants to die either. So this gives you, instead of an emotional feeling of like, you know, it could be one polar opposite or somewhere in between. Obviously, you could be like, you know what? I'm only 46. I have little kids. I have big dreams. I want to do it all. I don't want to die. Bring on the chemo. Okay, that's lovely to have that sentiment, but whether or not you do chemo should have nothing to do with whether or not you have kids. It should have to do with your cancer being annihilated by the chemo, having it work well, or having a high risk for it to recur. On the opposite end, you've got people who are like, you know, come hell or high water, I'm not doing chemo, so it doesn't matter. But if they had this study, this objective evidence that, you know what, your recurrence score, we're going to look at certain genetic things like a fingerprint on your cancer. And depending on what it expresses that's good to have or bad to have, we're going to throw it into an algorithm that will spit out the percent chance that your cancer will come back stage 4 metastatic in the next 9 years. If that number's high, chemo can make it lower. But if it's already low, you're so golden, you don't even need to think about doing the chemo. And that, thankfully, was Dion's score. She got a score of 15, which translated to a 4% chance of having life-threatening metastases, lung, liver, bone, or brain, 9 years from now, as long as she's taking an anti-estrogen. It was 4%. If she chooses not to do chemo and not to take an anti-estrogen, the number would be more like an 8% recurrence. And this then gives you some real numbers to hang your hat on and make your decision more objectively. It's a 96% chance that you're going to be fine. So what does chemo bring 96% chance of fine up to? Well, like 96.2. So no one's doing chemo for that, right? So it took all the pressure off the decision because it really was a non-decision at that point with such a favorable oncotype. But we don't always get those.
And that's what she said. You don't always get that. And I'm just like, you know, it was just my story. And I do believe getting that mammogram, you know, not putting it off and say, okay, you know, yeah, I'll go with the every other year, and sticking with my decision to have that mammogram done and catching it early, I think really, truly, I believe it worked in my favor. And I'm glad I made that decision. And I'm really hoping my story about having a mammogram, you know, breast health is very important. That it is just really resonating with, you know, someone, at least one, out there.
I'm sure it is. You know, we hear a lot of negativity and positivity about mammograms, right? They squash you so it hurts. They create radiation between those plates. This has been studied. People are not wrong when they say radiation causes breast cancer. That's the ironic truth. Yes, in fact, ladies, it does, including mammograms. So in other words, when you look at 10,000 women who get mammograms every year from 40 to 75 years old, out of 10,000 women, you will find 860 cancers on average. You will have caused, because of the radiation, 8.6 cancers. So in other words, we find 100 times the amount of cancer that we cause. And that is ultimately a risk-benefit ratio that most women are willing to undergo, because with earlier detection, there is often, not always, but often less intervention, less need for mastectomy, less need for chemo and other agents that are just filled with side effects and complications. So I do side with the American Society of Breast Surgeons, who advocate for beginning annual mammography if you're at normal risk at age 40, and to not stop or skip years until you're reasonably going to die of something else, like your heart or bad COPD, et cetera, within the next 5 years. Because finding a cancer is not going to change the course of your life, and it will just interrupt your happiness for the next 5 years, because you'll be dealing with the breast cancer that you didn't need to know about. So that's my 2 cents on mammograms. My steak is done, so I'm going to bring that over here. I'm just going to throw in the tomato sauce for the beef, and then we are going to get into some really fun facts about exercise. I love exercise. So in case you didn't realize, you have joined the Let's Beat Breast Cancer campaign, week 2 here. And what we advise women and men to do is to follow our 4-pronged approach to beating breast cancer. So hence the fork with 4 prongs. And the prongs are made up of eating a plant-based diet, exercising regularly, maintaining ideal body weight, and minimizing alcohol. So this week I kind of wanted to do a spotlight on exercise and why it's so beneficial in terms of breast cancer risk reduction to never get it, hopefully. But even if you have gotten it, then what does exercise do about reducing recurrence risk and mortality, dying from it? We have hard science on all of it. I'm going to share that with you as soon as I pour tomato sauce into my beef. Dion, why don't you tell us?
I'm sorry, when you said you were like what did you call yourself? About with the spices, I am with you. I do not put a whole lot in mine. I like it mild. Don't put it too spicy.
Yeah.
Or I am just, no, I will cry like a baby.
Right. I know I need tissues to blow my nose. But, sister, I wish you were here. These are so delish. They are really like not to be missed. But anyway, when you come to California, I will make no mistake tacos.
So did you all hear the open invitation? Did you all hear that open invitation?
I will not rescind it. You are welcome anytime. All right, so we got a couple more minutes on the beef, and so I'm in that time going to tell you my little stories about exercise. So part of the main reasons why it's so good at reducing breast cancer risk. First of all, it lowers estrogen levels. Estrogen feeds and fuels 80% of breast cancer. Does it cause breast cancer? That is a big deep dive into my hormone replacement therapy, yes or no discussions. But the short answer is yes. It does have the power to be both mutagenic and carcinogenic. Fancy words, and we're not going to dive into all that right now. The bottom line there is that when estrogen is causing breast cancer to form in the first place, it does so with very low frequency. It never acts alone. It's like giving you flour and saying, hey, bake a cake. You're like, I need some more stuff, but thanks for the flour because I want that for sure, right? So estrogen's just one ingredient. And point of fact, women who have estrogen-driven cancers generally have less aggressive, more curable cancers, and that goes double time for women who are on hormone replacement therapy at the time of diagnosis. They are twice as likely to survive their breast cancers because of having been on hormones. So at the end of the day, there are receptors on the majority, 80% of all breast cancers. When estrogen from any source hits that receptor, it sends a signal to the cancer to multiply and divide. Exercise lowers bad estrogen levels, number one. Number two, it revs up your metabolism. It helps boost and maintain weight loss. This is important because adiposity, weight, fat, is extraordinarily connected to breast cancer. Causation, recurrence, and death. A lot, like way more. The science has been pouring in ever since like 2019. It's very recent how deep we've gone into understanding that fat is our main source of leptin. Leptin is a hormone that does say, hey lady, you've eaten enough, stop eating now, right? It's your satiety hormone, but it's way more sinister than that. Like that's a helpful thing that it does. The other thing that it does is it switches on and off all of these oncogenes in a really potentially dangerous way, so that cancer basically has exactly the right pathways, biochemical pathways switched on to suit its needs so it can grow and proliferate and metastasize and cause problems. weight is also, as adipose, a standalone cell, it's very hormonal. We used to think of it, just as fat, unwanted fat, like it was just a storage depot for energy. That's as far as it kind of went for me in medical school 28 years ago. Oh no, it is like a whole mastermind of inflammatory cytokines, and it creates this whole cascade of cellular change that can lead to increased inflammation and increased angiogenesis, the birth of blood vessels to tumors, and it secretes all of these markers. So less of it is better because everything gets a little more quiet. And the final really connected thing between fat and cancer is insulin. So having too much fat promotes insulin resistance, where your cells are just like, blah, 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 can't hear you, insulin, can't do what I'm supposed to do right now. And so insulin, when it's left to its own devices, is a direct breast cancer stimulator. It also elevates IGF-1, which is one of the biggest growth promoters. It's actually the biggest growth promoter, IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1, in our bodies. So having this insulin elevates IGF-1 accidentally because it decreases the body snatcher for IGF-1. It decreases the binding protein. It also stops cancer cells from killing themselves. It's called apoptosis. And insulin's like, no, don't die. Stick around. Do some more damage. So all that to say, exercise helps. Your real key to weight loss, it's multifactorial, right? But this plant-based eating is going to be very key. Once you start to melt fat away, exercise helps you maintain it for sure, but it does help you lose it as well. And it's going to boost your immune system and decrease all the inflammatory markers. So in point of fact, it's time for me to get my beef. Hold on. Okay. Oh my gosh. So delish. Oop, maybe a little on the burn. Okay. That one little area. Okay. So we're going to assemble these bad boys in a bit, but for now, I just want to finish my exercise story to tell you about how exercise decreases incidence. One of my favorite studies to quote followed 17,000 postmenopausal women and looked at cancer incidence over, let me get this right, it was a prospective study over 10 years. And what they found, get this, was just from 11 minutes a day of briskly walking, just 11 minutes, their breast cancer incidence dropped by 18%. What if that's not even tough for you? Like you're like, is more better? Well, absolutely. It turns out it is. So 3 to 4 hours weekly of moderate to vigorous exercise drop breast cancer incidence. So first time getting it by 30 to 40%. And if you're like 4 hours, I'm going to do 5, so 4 hours plus for the overachievers out there, more is more, 57% drop in breast cancer occurrence. So when people hear me talk even more about all the details of exercise, they usually say, okay, doc, but what is the very least amount I can do to get the benefit? So we're going to put up a graph here because I think this is very telling. It kind of answers the question visually, and I'm a visual person, which is good for surgeons to be. So what we see is that on your horizontal axis is how many minutes a week that you're willing to exercise. And then on the vertical axis, you're getting your benefit. So what you can see is that in the very beginning where we have the circle, a little bit more, the benefits go up and up and up. It's like really exponential, like that extra 10 minutes matters. It extends life. It makes you healthier, health span and lifespan. And a little bit more and a little bit more. And then about 150 minutes, you stop going straight up like you're shooting a rocket to the moon, and you start to curve over at like 45 degrees. But boop, stop there. That's where for some reason, like sort of the national recommendations and stuff, they say 150 minutes a week. I'm sorry, just show me the graph and explain it. I'll decide how much I'm going to exercise. Don't patronize me. I appreciate that you're trying to like make it seem achievable and you don't want to stress me out that it's too many minutes. Just tell me what it is and I'll decide. Thanks. Okay, then I will. And it turns out, keep watching, you exercise more and more and you never flatline, okay? Get the whole picture there? It never flatlines or goes down. The more you exercise, the more benefit you derive from those minutes. However, at the 300-minute mark, which equals 5 hours of exercise a week, what happens at that moment is funny to me because you can exercise more and you will still derive more benefit. But the statistical analysis is like this. Let's just say you exercise beyond the 5 hours for an hour a week. The amount of life you extend is almost exactly equal to the amount you exercised more. So you just spent all of your extra hours of life exercising. But in the beginning, not so. A little bit of exercise, a lot more life. Little more exercise, more years of life. Healthy, vibrant, productive, like physically feeling fit inside your own skin life. So 300 minutes is the goal. And if it is super sweaty, very vigorous exercise, that trajectory will go faster. So you only need 2.5 hours of the very vigorous exercise. But if you're going to chit chat and go for a walk with your girlfriends, wear your weighted vest to get your bone density up, you should strive for 5 hours because of the graph. That's it. But you do you, and I'll take whatever you'll give me. Dion, talk to me about what I just shared. I know you've got a lot of thoughts. Like your mind was firing away with the graph. I love it.
I like that because people do tend to want to overdo it. They want to tend to just work out. And I like you said, I say start where you are, right? Just start where you are. Do something. Don't be a couch potato, but do something. And find something that is enjoyable to you, right? Something that you like, whether and make it vigorous. That's the one thing I always say. If you're going to do the walking, pick up the pace a little bit. Pick up the pace, and again, do maybe 5 hours because you're walking slow. But if you're doing like I train, and I train. Let's see, I do 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to think about all the classes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I teach like 6 classes a week. And they are.
What kind of classes are these? Are these fitness? Like,
yes.
What are we doing? If
My
I come to your class?
classes, yeah, my fitness classes. Aside from the cooking, both of those are like right up here. Cooking and fitness are just like, these are my wheelhouses. So as a personal trainer, Monday, I do we do strength training. And my clientele is mostly women who are over 50, but they're like 60, 70, and I also have like an 88-year-old. And don't think we're just in there like, okay, I can move over here. No, we are moving now, at a moderate pace, but it's strength training on Mondays and energizing chair exercises. That's Monday, 8 and 9. And then on Wednesdays, I have cardio kickboxing. We love cardio kickboxing. Now, look,
fun.
My cardio kickboxing is 101. I always say 101 because it's not all that high intensity. It's good for your knees. We're doing preventive maintenance here. We're at a point where we want to maintain, we want to get rid of some of the fat because we don't want that extra fat, like, lugging along, hanging on the side of us, right? So, and that's cardio kickboxing, the second chair exercise. And then I added, because we want that midweek, I added a stretching and meditation class. Because Wednesdays, it's just that midweek you had Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I need a little rest. So we do that in between. And then Fridays, I do a combo of the Monday and Wednesday strength and cardio kickboxing. And let me tell you, the testimonies I get from my women, mostly women. There are also a few guys in the classroom. Like, I don't care if you're focused on women. I want to be in your class. So that's the main thing. And exercise is, especially for, before, during, and after cancer, for everybody, exercise is a stress reducer, right? And just the way you feel after exercise. Anybody, after you exercise, it's just a feeling after exercise. You sleep better. Your energy, just overall, like holistically, exercising along with the eating, those plant-based. I'm all about plant-based. Eat plants, crush cancer. Eat plants and crush all the other diseases too. But you're eating it's just you're gonna feel like you want to eat healthy because of the way you feel after working out. You don't want
Well,
to eat the junk food.
you
In the
don't because
beginning, after a while, you don't want to eat the junk food. You're like, no, I don't want to eat the junk food. I feel so good eating all the plants and exercising. This is just beautiful, and you want to keep doing it. And then you think about longevity. Longevity is it. So exercise is key. Start where you are. Get a personal trainer. Start where you are and do something fun. Do something that you like and be intentional. Like you say, Dr. Funk, you always say, eat like you mean it. I say, work out like you mean it. Don't just be out working out. Just think about your life. I'm going to work out and I'm going to eat like I mean it.
Woo! I love it. Yeah, that's my line. If you really want to defeat cancer, eat like you mean it. And I love what you're saying because it's so true. It's so full circle. You exercise, you do sleep better, so you wake up, your mood is better. And then just like when you're back in high school, you get your first job, and mine was it was $12 an hour in a chocolate shop, which is probably not a good thing for me back then. But then you go to the mall and you look at a shirt and you're like, oh, that's 3 hours of work. I don't want to buy it all of a sudden. And that's how you start to look at food. You're like, wow, that workout, it burned 300 calories, but that right there is about 800. So maybe I don't want to eat that. I'm going to switch it up. So speaking of food, let me finish up my tacos because they're ready. A couple ways you can do tortillas. You can just warm them up with a moist paper towel in the microwave on a dish. So you basically are steaming them. I always throw them on a burner flame, and I just kind of flip them once and put the burner on super low so I don't torch them, which I have torched many a tortilla. But let's go do this. So I just turn it on and then go to the very lowest setting, and then I just plop them on there for a second. Oh, that one wouldn't want to go on. Fine, we'll just use this one right now. So anyway, we're gonna warm these up, and I just threw a little Daya cheddar cheese on some black beans, and I had some Amy's refried beans. Those are my absolute favorite. They're organic Amy's refried beans. Double check because I think she makes ones that are vegetarian and not vegan, so there's two. But anyway, I got those two beans and other things for toppings. Of course, avocado. What's a taco without avocado? But I also perfected a pickled red onion recipe. I called it Pickle Me Pink. And that recipe is on the website as well, cancerkicking.com. And another thing while I'm sitting here flipping tortillas that I want you all to know is the summit. So my Cancer Kicking Summit is coming up in the spring of next year. I have two that are already ready for you to register. One is in Palm Desert or Palm Springs, California. It's going to be over Mother's Day weekend, May 9, 10, 11. And the second one is at the end of May, May 30, 31, and June 1st. These are Friday, Saturday, Sundays in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So have a look at the website, learn more about it, but it is going to be a magical, transformative time. We talk so much about all of the things that I love to highlight in my book, in my cooking shows, but we're really going so far beyond cooking, right? I love to talk about exercise, mindset, meditation, social dynamics. We have to really understand stress and how to mitigate it, and a lot of that comes with interpersonal relationships. We have breakout sessions this year. We're doing an introduction to whole food plant-based cooking. I'm doing an entire 2-hour seminar on hormone replacement therapy that will be fun. We have a traditional Chinese medicine breakout session where we're also going to be doing meditation and Tai Chi, and it's just going to be fabulous. There's so much to learn, and this sacred sisterhood, it's not about breast cancer. Like most of the people who come don't have breast cancer. It's really just about living your healthiest life and learning what that looks like on a day-to-day basis with all of your choices. So speaking of choices, here are my smorgasbord of choices for building tacos. So my Pickle Me Pink pickles, I put red onions rather. It's so easy. It's just 2 types of vinegar, apple cider and rice vinegar with a little bit of sugar and salt, and then you just mix that up for 1 minute in a saucepan so that the salt and the sugar melt. I throw peppercorns and whole cloves of garlic into a cute little mason jar, 1 large red onion sliced thin, and then pour the cooled mixture in here and put it in the fridge. And they're ready to add to salads, to Buddha bowls, sandwiches, you name it. They go on everything. They just give this like pop, unexpected like yumminess. If you're not a red onion pickle fan, you will become one. I think you just haven't had them enough. So what I'm going to do for my 2 tacos, I'm going to take my Beyond Beef. This one I consider slightly more traditional. So I put all the fixins on here. We're going to have the Beyond on there with a couple slices of avocado, fresh avocado. I chopped up some cherry tomatoes. Nobody's looking, so I'm going to use my hands. And then cilantro. I'm the only cilantro lover in my family. I was excited when my brothers came over because they ate cilantro. Okay, good. My 3 kids and my husband are like, nah, I don't want that. I'm a huge fan of black beans. This isn't a whole cup in one taco, but black beans have 15 grams of protein per cup and 15 grams of fiber per cup. So that is a powerhouse there. And a little dollop of sour cream, which is also on my recipe website, how to make my sour cream. Okay, so that, after bragging about the onions, I didn't put them on. You could also I have some shredded iceberg lettuce. And you could also, I ran out of red cabbage, but that's kind of a really pretty pop too that goes nicely on tacos. So here is my Beyond, where's the beef taco? Doesn't it look fantastic? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
This steak one though, this is the real surprise. If you've never tried these yet, you're going to be shocked. Okay, I became completely vegetarian when I was 10. So I have no recollection of what steak tastes like. And I don't think I even ate much, if any of it, back before I became vegetarian. So I'm never trying to mimic the taste of steak. And I never thought that I would even particularly like the taste of it were it mimicked well. But according to my brothers, this is fantastic, amazing, tastes like the real deal, but a really like moist, chewy, soft version. And they're apparently telling me it's incredible. So I believe them. I think it's just incredible as it is. Like, I'm not trying to mimic the steak. But I do think if you have steak lovers in your life and you want to gently nudge them toward plant-based, this would be a great option to serve. Okay, so here's my cute little steak taco. So pretty. All right, I would eat this and then just kind of have to chew food and talk at the same time and tell you how delicious it is. I'll just tell you, it's so good, so delicious. And I'm secretly excited that now I don't have to cook dinner when we're done. The boys will just come out and devour. So look up the recipes. What was I gonna say? All right, I'm going to talk about, I'm just going to piggyback on what you were saying about the stress reduction. So this all leads into why exercise decreases cancer recurrence and death, and I have stats to prove it. So what happens when you're exercising, the same things that happen that decrease occurrence in the first place, right? We're decreasing estrogen, boosting the immune system, boosting weight maintenance, weight loss even, and decreasing inflammatory markers. But then what that really translates to in your cancer patients is positive effects on cancer-related pain. They report an increased sense of mental well-being, and they have less depression, improved quality of life overall. They sleep better. They therefore have fatigue reduction. And the moving and grooving decreases breast cancer-related lymphedema, which is this really horrible semi-permanent. I say semi because there are surgical things that can repair it, but they're not easy and they don't always work. Lymphedema is a swelling of the arm where they had the lymph nodes removed, and it's exacerbated by getting radiation to boot. So all of that is decreased. If you are getting chemotherapy before surgery, something very interesting in a recent 2013 study showed that women who do chemo before surgery and maintain daily exercise, and it doesn't have to be super rigorous, while eating a healthy, balanced diet, had their cancers completely disappear, like no longer in the breast at the time of surgery. We call it a PCR. It is the most coveted holy grail. It is a path complete response. The tumor is gone 53% of the time. If they were in the group that did not exercise, the tumor disappeared based on the chemo regimen alone 28% of the time. So you nearly doubled the chances of this coveted PCR, which correlates directly with survival rates.
Wow.
Dion, you were lucky you didn't have to do chemo, and
That was a blessing, yes.
but what you went through was no joke either. So the recovery, tell me more about postural changes, balance. How did you go from your double mastectomy and the reconstruction, which had happened in 2 parts, to then being fit again? Was it a struggle to start again?
It was a struggle to stop. It was a struggle to stop. My doctor, she was adamant. She was like, if you want to heal, please do not exercise. She gave me, that was September, October, from July. So starting from July all the way till December. She was like, you can walk. Because I'm a personal trainer. I train. And I'm just like, but this is what I do. It's who I am. What do you mean don't work out until December? So it was hard for me not to. But what I did, and I can tell, this is to share with the rest of you. So I did a lot of, like I'm standing now. I call them releve, but I did a lot of heel raises. I did a lot of walking. Like I did lunges. I would just walk in place. Since I was not able to do a lot of what I usually do, I still kept moving within my doctor's guidelines. She was satisfied with that. I was like, what if I do this and this and this? She was okay with it. So first, listen to your doctor. But after that, really, and I had my clients, they were so good. It was like when I was in person, come in, it was like, you're not to do anything. You just tell us what to do. We know enough. You've been working with us for this long. So now we're going to help you, but we know what to do. So I had a support system, and that is so important for that support system. But how I bounced back was I gradually got back into working out. You don't just go jump right back into it because you've had this break. So you take your time and you start out slow, even if it's chair exercises, even if it's just walking, so you do those things. And your diet is so important with that too. You must eat those foods that's going to, those antioxidants. You need to get those to help eliminate all those free radicals. You need to eat those type foods and drinking water. And I really got my rest. And as far as the exercise, I am so into balance, because when we get some of us are over 50, balance becomes so problematic. So I do a lot of balance. Like as I'm standing here the whole time, I was balancing because I'm like, I'm determined that I am not going to fall over. I'm going to keep my bones strong. And that's the purpose of why I do what I do, because I want other women to think and feel the same way, no matter what life brings to you, no matter what you're going through or have gone through. Just keeping that balance, with your mind, keeping your mind good, eating those foods that's going to, and I use that, Dr. Kristi. I'm always saying to people, eat like you mean it. And I always tell them who I got it from. I'm like, eat like you mean it. Don't eat all this junk food. What is it going to do for your body? Because all of that, the mindset, the food, and the exercise, it's going to play a key role. And, just again, with the balancing, just keeping my bones strong, being able to have agility, and bottom line, being able to continue to do your activities of daily living. Those are most of the exercises that I do for my clients, activities of daily living. You want to be able to put your clothes on. So we do exercises where we're working the shoulders, So just take it step by step. This, for all of that to say, step by step, day by day, and you got to keep at it. It's not a one and done. It's been 3 weeks and I don't feel, keep going. It's a process, right? So just keep going.
Yeah, it does get easier, and it does make a powerful impact on outcome. So the final study I'm going to share with you is so fascinating to me, and it relates to the graph I was telling because it broke it down into the how many minutes. So we looked at, I didn't do any of it. I just read the study. I do that a lot. I'm like, so we, collectively. Okay, they looked at 1,340 patients who were stages 1 through 3. They all went through chemotherapy, which automatically tells you that their tumor subtype was quite high risk because they warranted chemo. And they looked at their exercise before, during, and after treatment and compared survival rates, recurrence and survival at the 2-year follow-up. So at the front end, before the diagnosis, they were asked, did you exercise? So that's just a yes or a no. Okay. Now on this end, 2 years later, we then can have 4 different people. The ones who didn't exercise and they still don't exercise. So there's our permanent couch potato, and they are going to be our reference point relative to the person who did nothing and does nothing. What's your story? You either did nothing and started moving. You did exercise and suddenly stopped, or you did exercise and you keep exercising. So we have some different stats here that I can't wait to share because they're both powerful. The first, so our reference group is didn't exercise. What if you didn't and you started? Your recurrence rate at the 2-year mark dropped 43% relative to the woman who didn't do anything ever. Okay, so just starting to move, as Dion's saying, whatever you'll give me, don't get discouraged. You're at the 3-week mark. Let's just step up a little notch with the goal. We're going to give 1 more minute a day on the walk today, okay? Let's do that for a week because more puts you into the 43% reduction. What about if they worked out and they stopped working out? Well, they had a 6% reduction. So they kind of had a little ember still burning from the work they used to do. So it was 6% less, but it's essentially like nothing. That's not a huge drop, just statistically speaking. What if they worked out before, so they were in theory, healthier when they got diagnosed, and they continued to work out. During and throughout, and 2 years later, they had a 68% drop in recurrence. Okay, so working out now, lest you ever get a cancer diagnosis, will serve you well throughout. So working out is just a win-win-win always. There's no world in which working out decreases, right? The other thing I loved is that they then looked at all-cause mortality, so dying from not just breast cancer, but anything at the 2-year mark. And they subdivided this into our minutes of exercise, just like I was showing you on the graph. So they had the people who were less than 150 minutes a week, those who were between 150 and 300, the super sweet spot, and those overachievers who are over 300. So how does mortality correlate? Like I was trying to tell you before, does more extend your life? According to what I said, it should. But in this subset of high-grade cancers that needed chemo, what was their outcome based on less than 150 minutes a week relative to the woman who never worked out, right? So we're still relative to the couch potato. She had a 59% drop in all-cause mortality. The one who doubled that, did they double their survival? No, it was basically exactly the same. It was 58%, which is not different. It sounds less, but it's just the same statistically as 59. So they were the same. Just between 2.5 to 5 hours a week had the same mortality. What if you did more than 300 minutes a week? 69% drop. So they had the highest drop in mortality. The moral of the story is exercise is so good on all levels. And as Dion was saying, just pick something you love. I am a real big fan of, for people who just, they're like, exercise is not my thing, doc. Like, there's no way. I laugh when you say pickleball, and I don't even know what that is. And second of all, swimming, biking, running, I'm not doing those things. Even hiking gets me out of breath just thinking about it. So I think I'll take a break already. If that's you, then we need to just move more. Trick yourself. I love the little tricks. So we all have to, I have to do these dishes when we're done, right? So I'll just move more, like move around the kitchen more. When you're sweeping, if you've got to do your own chores, you're gonna sweep with a little pep, right? Do a little dance. Do you have kids that think, like mine would just be like, Mom, if I tried to dance with my 15-year-old sons. But if you have grandkids or little kids who think that's fun, make up a whole dance thing. More practical day-to-day things. Do you work in an office building? Why do you go to the bathroom on your own floor? That's cheating. Why don't you take the stairs down 3 floors, 4 floors, and guess what? Pee and take them all the way back up. Okay? That's flights of stairs right there. My watch will go like zzz, and give me like balloons, like I did something fabulous if I make 10 flights of stairs in a day. It always startles me. I'm like, what did I do? Oh, I walked 10 flights. So that's one way. Another is parking farther away, whatever your target is. I don't know what it is about my world-ranked Ironman husband, but that man will go round and round and round in a parking lot until he finds the closest spot to where we're going. And I'm laughing. I'm like, you literally do full distance Ironman constantly, competitively, and you're like a high achiever, and you need to walk the least amount of distance to church or to the store where we're going. What is it? Park away on purpose and make yourself walk, right? So just think about ways about putting energy into what you're already doing. It will translate. Your cells will thank you. It will decrease inflammatory markers, and it will improve your stability, your balance, like Dion was talking about. And then eventually you'll be motivated to just do a little more. Or not. I'll take what you'll give me. So in conclusion, I want to remind everybody, letsbeatbreastcancer.org. You sign up for free. We're going to send you a free e-cookbook. It is highly coveted with delicious recipes. And we will send you an e-starter guide to the 4 prongs, which are eat a whole food plant-based diet, maintain ideal body weight, exercise regularly, and minimize alcohol. Speaking of alcohol, we have another favorite, Dion, Survivor Thriver, with me next week. She's going to be up close and personal in the kitchen, and we are going to focus on alcohol. We're going to be making mocktails. She is mocktail queen. You may remember Dion from last year. She's a lovely patient of mine, and I can't wait for you to meet her. She's a celebrity, and she makes some mean mocktails, and I'm going to really dive into some of the alcohol stats that I know you'd rather not hear, but you must. So please show up, and you can sign up now. QR code on the screen. So the next Cook Live LBBC edition is next Tuesday, October 22nd, focused on mocktails. And as long as you're signing up for things, please, 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 all of my LA people, I have a fun video to show you right now. It is so cool. This is last year's drum rally. I love this. Oh, you can't hear me? I thought you could hear the music. Oh, the drums are drumming. There it is. We're on the beach, and we had 3 different drum lines. And this year, there's our QR code. We are joined with the American Cancer Society, the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Santa Monica group is having a 5K. And we, the Let's Beat Breast Cancer group, has made our own page. So you can join my group and walk with me. You don't have to donate. We're not asking for donations, just to sign up and be a part of my team. So it is Sunday, October 27th. We're meeting at the Santa Monica Pier. It's on the pier. You can't miss it. There are going to be well over 10,000 people there. I will be with my 3 drum lines in the front, and I can't wait for you to join me. So please sign up. Again, 0 cost. Just come and join the fun. There's going to be lots of food, resources, tons of sisters, and a bunch of brothers, and we're just going to join in camaraderie with a united goal of raising awareness, understanding that we have so much more control over breast cancer than you probably think. So please join me. I can't wait to be marching and putting my move on. Dion, we're just going to walk. It's going to be pretty low pace, people. So even if you're not a super athlete, I want to see you there. And final reminder is for those YouTubers out there, if you haven't already, please subscribe so you don't miss a show. And I thank you all for joining me. I hope you check out the recipes. These tacos are mwah! And thanks to Beyond Meat for supplying my meat today. And that's all I got. Dion, some parting words from you?
Look, I want you to know I made that Buddha bowl, and I made your Buddha bowl last week. I'm not big on all my food touching in the bowl like that, but it was delicious. I must say it was delicious.
I love it.
And I'm excited to try the Beyond Meat because I had stopped using it, but I like that they've increased the ingredients. And so I'm going to try, based on what I saw you do today, I will be at the store trying me some Beyond Meat and making me some tacos because I love tacos. So,
yeah, they're so good.
So parting. I would like to say that it's been a pleasure. Ladies, I want you to, if you don't think about yourself. If you know, I'm strictly talking about women who have had the diagnosis and those who are recovering and those who are thrivers like I am 5 years. That if you don't think about yourself, think about your families, because you have a right to fight for your health. You have a right to fight for your life. And I say keep fighting, even if it's baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. Keep fighting. Don't give up. Don't quit. Think about, just your mindset. Think about the foods you're eating and get those bodies moving. We must. And if you need to contact me, you like to contact me. I am the owner of a wonderful, wonderful organization called Sister Fit, SISTAFITT. And I'm a health and wellness advocate for women's health. And that's something that we talk about, the whole woman, faith, food, and fitness. Even if you don't, and I love what Dr. Kristi Funk is doing, reach out to her, just get a support system. And that's just what I leave with you. You have to have that support. You have to, because you can't do it alone, because your mind will play little tricks on you. So you need those folks around you that's going to pull you out of, no pun intended, pull you out of the funk that you're in, and, and get your mind and get your mind right. So it's been a joy. I am Dion Shaw Bush. I am the creator of Sister Fit, and I want everyone to be fit.
She does. Dion Shaw Bush, you are a dynamo. It's always so fun to do these talks with you. And also, you're a Food for Life instructor and a sister of PCRM.
How can I forget that?
Yeah.
A Food for Life instructor has been 1 year. 1 year, and I love it. Thank you for reminding me, Food for Life.
Right. So if you want to learn more about that, again, just sign up for free. Let'sBeatBreastCancer.org. Join the campaign. Accept the challenge to follow the 4-pronged approach to beating breast cancer. We will see you next week to talk all things alcohol. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.